Okay, well, today we just finished session 1 of my Known Space campaign in my science fiction setting. So we started out with 6 players who answered the links to join the campaign. 5 of them were still part of the group at session 0, but one of them didn't show up to session 0 and hasn't been active since. So at this point, they were cut and we're down to 4 players plus myself. We had at this point it was a 4.5 hour session, which is pretty good. It's a pretty long online session. So I think that went pretty well. I kept having content to put in front of them and all that. Let's see. So the party owns a small starship and a shuttle. And they start out with that, with full tanks of fuel and their personal belongings. And need to figure out, what to do to keep paying the bills, pay their ship's doctor, that sort of thing. And they decide to take a job transporting a historian who is urgently looking for someone to get him out of this star system before the people who've tried to attack him catch up with him again. In the process, the party got attacked. Nobody was seriously hurt, but they did end up spending a few hours of time for their characters and negotiating the return of some belongings of this guy's. The attackers think that they got most of the information they were after, but it was forged. The party was able to forge false documents to give them. And as far as the party knows, their enemies don't know that the documents were forged. They took a second job transporting some mail for the Vartech refueling station and depot in the system, because the Vartech station's mailboat hasn't arrived in a while. Interesting. No idea. They don't know why yet. And they took on a cargo of wood because the world that they're supposed to take their researcher to is a barren world. It's all the habitation is in structured arcologies and domes, and wood is prohibitively expensive and slow to grow there. So they think they'll be able to get a decent price for wood. Thanks to wood being a relatively cheap good in places where it normally grows, they're able to load up or hold reasonably cheaply out of their own money, though they spent most of the cash that they had left over to do that. And they're now about to make their first jump of what's going to end up being 3 months, 12 individual jumps, with a couple of holdovers along the way at two different prearranged stopping points. One to deliver the mail, and one where the underworld member of the party thinks he can get them some other more lucrative but also more illegal cargo to transport. So far nobody's been hurt, but there wasn't a whole lot of fighting. And we've pretty much established a working dynamic of the group. Now, we're also having to change our schedule a bit. So normally we met, our arranged time was 8 a.m. Central Standard. But one of our players, and one of our kind of favorite players in the group, he's in Australia, east coast of Australia, which means that we start at 11 p.m., I believe, for him, and he had to leave, at least, at midnight for him, which is to say 1 hour into the session. Not great. So, we're going to try and compromise. Because that's Sunday night for him. Well, it's Sunday morning for us. So, we changed our meeting time. We're now meeting at 6 a.m. Central Standard, assuming that I can get up that early, which is not a given. And we will try and get him to stay up an extra half hour or hour in the evening, and that'll put us to a point where we can have 3 to 4 hour sessions with the entire party there, which will help a lot. Other than that, everything's going smoothly. They've found out that their researcher is studying, their historian that they're transporting was studying a Vartech warship that disappeared under mysterious circumstances 12 years ago. It was reportedly shot down, but no wreckage has really been found, and reports of sightings in all sorts of random places have been heard about. So, sort of a ghost ship, maybe. And we'll see where they go.